I will take questions from press.
I'm press. You get to choose who's the press? Here, these are your questions.
Excuse me. Do not touch me.
Mr. Tekulve, do you feel like you're just not answerable to anybody? Are you afraid, Mr. Tekulve, to take questions? So now they have sealed off the prosecutor's office from the public. I'm standing in front of the commissioner's session room because Prosecutor Mark Tekulve had a topic on the agenda today. But it turns out the whole prosecutor's office almost showed up for some handing out of a certificate. I tried to question Prosecutor Mark Tekulve before the meeting, and then I also tried to question him as he left and followed him out the door and followed him to his office. He, at one point at the beginning, when I tried to hand him a list of questions, had this panic reaction like, don't touch me, like he was going to arrest me for assault for handing him questions. Mark, can you take some questions after this?
No, sir.
Why not?
No, sir.
Why won't you take any questions from any press or anybody?
Well, I will take questions from press.
I'm press. You get to choose who's the press? Here, these are your questions.
Excuse me. Do not touch me.
Then when I followed him out, you'll see in the video, they have now locked the door to the prosecutor's office, and you need to call to be admitted to the prosecutor's office.
Hi, sorry. Oh, you just walk right through.
Mr. Tekulve, will you comment on, was Shane Olson doing remodeling work for you while you were investigating him for being put on the Brady list? Mr. Tekulve, would you please comment as to, was Shane Olson doing a remodeling project for you while your office was doing an investigation of him to be put on the Brady list? Mr. Tekulve, would you please comment on, was Shane Olson doing a remodeling project for you while your office was investigating him for putting on the Brady list?
Olson seems to have lied about many things during the investigation. He is seen here seated to the right, laughing as the waitress is harassed. He claimed that he saw nothing.
Mr. Tekulve, if that was true, isn't your actions corrupt? Is that the image you want to have of your office, is corrupt, won't take questions, slinking out hallways? Mr. Tekulve, I have a set of questions for you I'd like you to be able to address. Would you address them in writing? Mr. Tekulve, do you feel like you're just not answerable to anybody? Ms. Barron, as head of the criminal division, do you think it's appropriate for a prosecutor's office to have a conflict of interest while doing a Brady list investigation? Are you afraid, Mr. Tekulve, to take questions? You've never been in a candidate forum. You've never had an opposition in an election. Now you run slinking away. Do you think it's not a legitimate question to ask if you had a remodeling project being done by somebody you were investigating? I'm going to assume you did. Many people have told me you did. How come you never recovered money from Greg Parsons' family? So they have locked the door to the prosecutor's office. So now they have sealed off the prosecutor's office from the public. I'm going to go ahead and put up here the list of questions that I have for Mr. Tekulve that he refuses to answer or address. This is a joke. Our prosecutor's office is a corrupt joke. So let's remember, Mark Tekulve has never had a primary or general election opponent. He has never taken open press questions. He has never been in a candidate forum. He is an unknown, and he comes from a family where his father was known for misconduct as an attorney. Let's hit on some of the questions that I tried to ask Mark Tekulve and that I stuck in the door you saw there when leaving the prosecutor's office in its locked door. How could your office investigate Officer Shane Olson objectively while he was doing remodeling for you? Officer Shane Olson is an officer who should be on the Brady list, meaning they're unreliable to testify in court because of lies they have told in an investigation. The prosecutor's office initiated an investigation against Shane Olson, but at the same time, Shane Olson was doing remodeling work for the prosecutor. That's a typical Tekulve conflict of interest that he doesn't care about. Why do you think your special prosecutor in the Patricia Lambeck assault case never called the eyewitness who was sitting there waiting to testify? So there was an assault in a Clermont GOP meeting committed by Patricia Lambeck. The eyewitness to the assault, Tammy Brinkman, was sitting in the courtroom and was never called as a witness, guaranteeing that Patricia Lambeck would not be convicted. It made no sense whatsoever. It was a predetermined outcome, forum-shopped special prosecutor situation involving the Adams County office, Prosecutor Haslam. Why haven't you ever sought reimbursement to the county for Greg Carson's embezzlement from Clermont Senior Services? So Greg Carson, now deceased, embezzled from Clermont Senior Services. They tried to cover it up, and then when they found so much embezzlement and fraud, guess what they did in the prosecutor's office? Quit checking. They determined it was going to cost too much money to figure out how much had been embezzled. They also, you know what they did? They never sought recovery from the family of Greg Carson for the money. You and I had to pay for that. The taxpayers had to pay for it. How much time do you spend out of state or golfing during the Monday, Friday through Friday work week? So Mark Tekulve is known. There's lots of rumor mill that he's a lot of times golfing, not in the office. That Lara Barron runs the office, who, if she does, she's unfit to be a prosecutor in the future because she's covering for a boss that's pulling a Linda Fraley. How is it that you made Brian Schreiber the head of the civil division when he had no prosecutor office experience anywhere, when you had much more qualified candidates like Jeanette Nichols? So there's people I believe Jeanette Nichols in the civil division has probably 20 years experience, but Tekulve put political hack Brian Schreiber as head of the civil division, and as and not the person that had the most experience. I wanted to skip ahead here because it looks as if the commissioners are spending $120K a year on outside counsel Isaac Wiles. The billings look to be for mundane items, not federal lawsuit coverage or something like that, not big things or major lawsuits. The items seem to be the type performed by the civil division in most counties, and I think in Clermont in the Vince Ferris era. Do you believe the civil division can and should handle the mundane work? Here's the deal. I think there's actually a lot of friction. I know there's tons of friction with the sheriff's office and the prosecutor, and I think there's probably friction with the county commissioners and the prosecutor because of incompetence in the prosecutor's office and corruption. So the commissioners are allowed legally to get outside counsel to do work for them. I think we have an 8-person civil division, I think like 5 attorneys and 3 non-attorneys, and they should be able to handle all the mundane stuff. They should be able to handle all of the mundane stuff. Here's another one. Why do you think that no other member of the bar even applied to be appointed municipal court judge in the Terpstra appointment? Isn't it true that counties our size should see 3 to 5 applicants? We're a big county. We have a big bar. There should be multiple applicants for a judgeship. Is it true that attorneys fear being blackballed for having applied? And there it is. The legal community knows if they try to apply against a prosecutor office preference, they are going to get blackballed in the legal system. They are not going to get plea deals. It is totally corrupt. Hey, I would love Mark Tekulve to address it. I would love Lara Barron to address it. But how does it make it look when you try to ask them questions like that and they run away? They run away and they lock their door. And then the last one I'll hit here is, you have never had an election opponent, never sat for an interview, never appeared in a candidate forum. Will you appear in a community Q&A? If so, when and who could moderate? Maybe Lara Barron's husband, Mike Allen Jr., who's on WLW Radio, he could be the moderator. And let citizens ask Tricky Tekulve a question or two. This guy, he's supposed to work for us. His arrogance, his politicization of his office is beyond belief. One time he was trying to get me arrested at a Clermont GOP meeting. Before the meeting, he wanted a sheriff to help him out, and then Sheriff Leahy actually sent him a note saying that his office wouldn't be weaponized. He was also using his personal email for some communication. Sheriff Leahy sent a note back that he was uncomfortable using personal emails for communications that related to work things. It just tells you a lot about the character of Mark Tekulve. I still remember I asked Leahy what he thought of Mark Tekulve. He had supported him being prosecutor. I asked him, and his answer was, I thought that Mark was different than his father, but it turns out I was wrong.